Only parents understand the true marvel of Christmas, especially watching the surprise on those cherub faces when they opened the gift they really didn't think Santa was going to bring them, except for Tracy. Until Tracy was 2 years old, you couldn't have asked for a better, sweeter baby. He even started potty training at 14 months. He just didn't like wet pants. But one day when he was 2, I noticed he was lethargic and his eyes were dilated. I called the doctor at noon. He said, "Give him aspirin. He'll be fine." A few hours later, Tracy suffered a severe convulsion. For no apparent reason. He'd just recovered from chickenpox, and 2 months before that he'd had hernia repair. Could it have been from the anesthetic? We didn't know. But for the better part of 5 years, Tracy was sick. 12 years later, I found out a name for Tracy's condition: Reye's syndrome. A rare and serious illness causing brain swelling and liver damage. Most children don't survive. We were lucky to have him. Even though his illness included a personality change, and when he wasn't being his sweet little self, he was impossible. And so that December of 1970, when Tracy announced that Santa was bringing him Marvel the Mustang, the modern version of the rocking horse, no one could have been more surprised than me. Oh, not surprised that he wanted it, because it was shown on the television set every 15 minutes in the children's shows. I was just surprised that he made such a positive statement. Santa's bringing me Marvel the Mustang. No questions, no doubts, no hesitation. His brother and sister argued with him. "You don't know," they said. "Santa doesn't always bring you what you want." They were older and wiser, you know. They'd never been so bold at age 3.5. They always said, "I asked Santa for," or "Will Santa bring me?" or sometimes they forgot what they asked for. But Tracy never forgot and never changed his mind. "Santa is bringing me Marvel the Mustang," he insisted. I don't have to tell anyone who has 4 kids that money can be a problem at Christmas. We always tried to get each one of them a major Christmas gift and a few smaller things. Wendy usually got a doll. Tanya was only a year old, so she would be easy to buy for. Corey's gift probably would be a set of tools to help his dad build things. For Tracy, we reasoned that his big gift actually would be what he wanted: Marvel the Mustang. But you can't lasso a pony if it's not there. My husband and I searched every store in town looking for Marvel the Mustang, many of them twice. Everywhere we heard the same thing: "We had some, but they're gone. It won't arrive in time, so we can't order you one." "What are we going to do?" I asked dismally. Bill just shook his head helplessly. "We'll just have to get him something else." But I knew Tracy wasn't going to settle for anything else. So on Christmas Eve, when we still hadn't gotten anything for Tracy, I told Bill, "I'm going back downtown." I hit every store that ever sold a toy. I bought some other gift for Tracy, but still no major gift. Finally, heartsick, I headed the car for home. The stores would be closing soon anyway. Almost without conscious thought, I made a right turn to go around the block, down a side street I rarely traveled unless I was going to a fabric store that was in the middle of the block. I glanced at the store window as I drove by, then slammed on the brakes and stopped dead in the middle of the street. There, among the bolts of fabric, sat Marvel the Mustang. It was a good thing there was no traffic because I just sat there and stared, stupefied. Who'd have ever looked for a toy horse in a fabric store? But of course, it was J.C. Penney's fabric store, and their catalog department was in the back. The next morning I woke to screeching. Bill bounded out of bed. "Come on, Mom," he said. I pulled on my robe, lifted Tanya out of the crib, and headed for the living room where Corey and Wendy were shouting excitedly, "Tracy, you really got it! You got Marvel the Mustang! Santa really brought it to you!" Our sleepy-eyed little boy just reached for the handle on his horse's head and defiantly looked at them. "I told you," he said, as he swung his leg over his horse's back.